The Dragon Prince just released Book 7, Dark, the final book in the second arc of The Dragon Prince. Some people are undoubtedly confused about its ending, so let's talk about the season, how everything came together, and the interview we did with the Dragon Prince creators Aaron Ehasz and Justin Richmond that will help fill in some of the gaps. Link to the interview is in the pinned comment down below if you want to go watch that before checking out the video. My name is Deepcut, you can call me Time Blind Elf Cut, and if you want to talk about the Dragon Prince even more, come on down to the Cartoon Universe Discord server. Link will also be in the pinned comment below. Now, in my opinion, Season 6 was by far the most epic season until this one, with the big climax of Season 6 being Aaravos finally being set free from his prison, revealing that he is a giant. In this new season, he's able to shift to a smaller size and take on different forms to disguise himself, and from here, he, Claudia, and Terry set out to find a way to resurrect the dead. While most souls move on to the afterlife in the Dragon Prince universe, those who have unfinished business get trapped in the in-between. This is a sort of purgatory on the other side of the Moon Nexus, where the spirits of those with unfinished business have to wait and work through their issues. Aaravos explains that they can invert the Moon Nexus entirely with a Primal Stone, and so the three of them set off on this quest for Claudia's hope that her father will be on the other side. This is the excuse Claudia gives to Terry at least, but by the end of the season, Claudia acknowledges that her father likely moved on after redeeming himself by saving the people of Catullus. Even in episode 1, Claudia already seems to know this, as when Aaravos picks her up off the ground, she smiles at the ideas of revenge before even getting the possibility of bringing her dad back. This is because Claudia and Aaravos have bonded in a way that feels more like father and daughter, with Aaravos substituting for Viren, and Aaravos admitting that Claudia reminds him of his own daughter Leola. While Aaravos is really the one responsible for what happened to Viren and thus Claudia, Claudia still seems to blame the others, associating the people she saw as her friends and family with the authorities that rule the world, like the dragons and the star-touched elves. At the end of the day, what she wants now is the same thing that Aaravos wants, to simply undo the order of existence so that she can reshape it to the desires of people like Aaravos and herself. In order to do that, however, they need to create a Primal Stone, a magic item that can tap directly into one of the key magical elements that rule over Zadia, granting the power of magic to humans and even aiding already powerful star-touched elves like Aaravos. For this particular primal, they have to get the ingredient of a unicorn's horn, something Claudia was shown to have found for her father when she was much younger. Unicorns are seen as an essentially extinct species, though in early Dragon Prince artwork, Claudia herself was depicted petting a live unicorn. To find a unicorn horn for the Primal Stone now, they have to travel to a place called the Puzzle House, a mysterious location owned by a magical teacher to Viren that Claudia and Soren had visited at a young age, as seen in the Dragon Prince Puzzle House graphic novel. In this house, Claudia hid a map she found as a child that leads to a place called the Garden of Innocence, where only innocent beings like unicorns are allowed to go. This is because it's actually a unicorn graveyard, a resting place where they should not be disturbed. Because of that, the map that leads to the garden is magically enchanted so that it can only be read by an innocent mind. As a child, Claudia could read this map because she was innocent, but a lot has happened since then. Like, a lot.
I have someone who's important to you too.
Where is Aaravos?
Aaravos didn't lie.
So yeah, she can't read it anymore. Terry, on the other hand, can, and now we see why Terry is so important to the plan of Aaravos. Explaining why Aaravos didn't just manipulate Terry away from Claudia so that Terry couldn't put up a constant fight against his dark plans. With Terry's help, they are able to get to the Garden of Innocence, create the Primal Stone, and send it around the world in a pattern similar to the moon's orbit to bring it to full power. From here, they are able to invert the Moon Nexus, allowing for the spirits of the dead with unfinished business to walk the earth again. This is mostly an army of monsters, but they can only exist at night, so Aaravos also wants to cut off access to the sun using the Fire Elf Sun Orb. Doing this allows his army of the dead to trample Zadia, leading to the big epic showdown that we've been waiting 7 volumes for. Aaravos and Claudia had their undead monster army, the dragons were working with our Dragon Prince gang, and there were several different ways that Aaravos could have been defeated, but none of them seemed like an actual solution. Aaravos made sure that he couldn't be sealed in another pearl again, so for a mage like Callum, this left only dark magic to capture Aaravos in a coin, which, after his celestial baptism that was supposed to purify his soul, would lead to him corrupting entirely. It's a heavy price to pay, and one that even Rayla backs him up on, being prepared to shoot him with an arrow to save Zadia if that is what it took. But Aaravos also seemed prepared for other events to happen as well. Halfway through the season, for instance, Ezran manages to get Aaravos chained down, and Aaravos plants the idea in his head that he can be the one to use magic to seal him away instead of Callum. But in the end, that would just give him another servant outside of Callum to manipulate through dark magic. With someone on the outside under Aaravos' subtle control, it would just be a matter of time before he's let loose again, just like with the Pearl. He also gives Ezran the clue he needs to find the Nova Blade, almost as if Aaravos wants him to use it against him. Aaravos is intelligent and has something we'd think of as like foresight on the human scale because of how far ahead he can think. But these little details tell me he's planning for all possibilities, and he's preparing for every possible timeline. The Nova Blade is said to be able to kill a star-touched elf, for instance, but as Aaron E. Hawes confirmed in our interview, this would have the same effect as a dragon bite, with the Nova Blade being explained this season as being created from an archdragon's fang who had defeated a star-touched elf in the past. This only defeats a star-touched elf temporarily, however, and when their stars align again, they can return to their form in Zadia. What Aaravos seems to be doing more than anything then is trying to slowly kill off all of his enemies, as each of these options takes one of them out. In the end, he let the dragons be the ones to defeat him, leading to the death of even more archdragons, and making it easier for him to conquer the world when he returns. And when he does, all he has to do is continue attacking the system as it stands and take out anyone else who rises to power against him. Aaravos' real plan then seems to just be slowly killing off his enemies. He seemed to know that his plan to bring back the dead would be stopped, but that it was worth doing to remove another enemy from the game. Aaravos is very long living, so with nothing to lose, he can decide to just spend the rest of his very long existence constantly trying to sabotage everything while slowly taking down these enemies. He may never end up even making a permanent change to the natural order of life and death, but every time he tries, he'll be reshaping Zadia by killing its leaders, and unfortunately, causing so much suffering along the way. Now, we already know that there are plans for a third arc to the story, with Aaravos being set to return in 7 years when our characters have matured a bit and are ready to fight him again. This arc hasn't been renewed by Netflix yet, so we don't know if we will get it. But if it does come, it would seemingly be the end of the story. So what exactly would be the plan for this upcoming final arc? Even if Callum or Ezran had permanently sacrificed themselves, Aaravos would still be able to escape one day. And I can't imagine that if we get 3 or more seasons, we'll just get another ending where something like this happens again. We do know that star-touched elves can outright kill another star-touched elf if they choose, as that is exactly what happened to the daughter of Aaravos, and he was offered the same fate. They could end up bringing this out to have it be the final death he experiences at the end when the star-touched elves finally get involved. But I feel like they would have already gone that route if that was going to happen. And instead, the star-touched elves seem very happy to remain detached from the situation, despite how important it seemed for them to get involved when Leola was the one corrupting the humans with magic. Aaravos talked to Ezran this season about the idea of maturity, which he describes as being this sort of in-between place, like the spirits caught between life and death. Spirits who want to move on but have unfinished business. Being mature here means being able to let go of your personal pettiness in order to do what is best for everyone, and Aaravos believes that by giving humans dark magic, he is helping them mature, and that may be true on some level. Right now, it looks like he has caused the corruption of humanity, as we learn this season that the desire to use dark magic led humans to hunt magical creatures in the West to extinction. This wasn't even as some part of United's system to benefit the humans as a whole, and instead, the magic was mostly used to try and attack each other and take over territories in the new Wild West that the humans had been banished to. Aaravos seems like he's in the wrong for teaching humans these practices, but the way he talks about this is with the hope that humans will evolve an understanding of when to use magic and when not to. With that in mind, I want to think that the star-touched elves are doing the same thing to Aaravos. It seems crazy that Aaravos' daughter was killed so quickly for giving magic to humans, and that Aaravos' continued influence has zero response from the star-touched. They talk about how important the order and balance is, but they let Aaravos keep going to bring the dead back by inverting the moon nexus, despite Leola just teaching humans the very basics to magic. It would seem to me that it's at least possible that these star-touched elves have seen far enough ahead to know that after Leola gave humans magic, Aaravos' influence will ultimately have the best impact on the planet. This is a wild idea considering how much suffering and even extinction he seems to have caused, but think about what Aaravos did this season to save Claudia. In the final episodes, he made it clear that he would not let another daughter of his die, after saying all season that Claudia had become like a daughter to him. At some point, this has to have a positive effect on his character, not one that will make him a happy, friendly giant, but one that will make him realize that he can focus on peace and spreading prosperity. He lost his daughter, but he has fun with Claudia now, and he came to the realization this season that he does want to be happy the way he is when exploring the puzzle house with Claudia and Terry, seeing the world through the eyes of an innocent child like he did when he was taking care of Leola. The star-touched elves may have known that eventually Aaravos would learn to connect with others again and see the pain he is causing, not just to Claudia, but to all the people he has power over. In the end, maybe Aaravos himself can become the hero, following in the footsteps of Viren and defending all of Xadia from an even greater threat than himself in order to protect those like Claudia. But what do you guys think? It certainly was a wild 7th season, and I'm hoping we get more episodes so we can see where this will go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and again, if you haven't seen it, check out the video we put together interviewing the Dragon Prince creators. Or come talk about the show with us in our Discord server. See you guys there.